Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So today I want to do this TikTok because I've been wanting to get back into fat acceptance TikTok. And this one's fresh off the presses. It's from 6 hours ago. So we're really going fresh. But before I get into it, she's gonna call out former fat and whatever, and people who have lost weight. So I'm like, okay. But I do want to ask you guys if you know of any podcasts maybe I should look at covering next. Because I did look at the Fab Fatties and they were kind of weird. There is one I might do for members that's kind of scandalous. So that's something I'm considering. But yeah, it would not work for just normal YouTube. And so let me know of any other podcasts going on. I always love your suggestions. Let me know. But let's go ahead and get into this. I'm going to just let it play. And then we're going to respond.
Some of the most unhappy kinds of fat people are former fat people. People that have lost a lot of weight, that spent some of their life fat, maybe a lot of their life fat, and are not fat anymore. In my experience, those people never get to a point in which they're happy with their body. They never get to a point in which they've reached the right weight and they feel attractive. They feel like they've made it and they can be loved now and they can have the kind of life that they want. It just doesn't happen. And the thing that does happen is that they realize that it's unattainable. So when you're fat, you can kind of like have this myth of what it would be like to be thin and have all these like thoughts that if you got thin, then you would have this, and that. You would have a relationship and you would have a job and you would have love and you'd have good sex and you'd have a body you could show off. But more times than not, in my experience, people that lose a lot of weight don't get those things. They still dislike their body. They still want to be in a different body. And that is because they are not the problem. Their body is not the problem. It is obviously beauty standards and fat phobia that's the problem. So It's not a problem they can fix, even by changing their body, even by fixing their body. They're still in a world that has European beauty standards, has a certain kind of thin person that is seen as beautiful, and they never reach where they're trying to go because they can't get to where they're trying to go. Some of the most unhappy...
There's so much projection in this. So much. So as a mid-size girly pop, which is where I'm at right now, one thing that I have noticed a lot, and I've talked about it a lot on the channel, you guys are probably getting pissed at how much I talk about it, but projection is huge in the mids. I have never been as projected upon as I have been since the year began. This is projection. She's projecting particularly, I believe, particularly on people like me. People who are mid, people who are mid-size, people who are not quite to where they want to be. And she's putting all this stuff on us. So let's go ahead and break it down piece by piece.
Happy kinds of fat people are former fat people. People that have lost a lot of weight.
So in my experience, a lot of people who are very unhappy are people who are still hugely fat. Ooh, it's not right if I say it back, right? I mean, it's very easy to say, girl. I'm just saying. And it's pretty real. For me, am I happy super fat? Am I happy mid? You know? I think it's a stupid measurement to look at if something's worth it or not, because happiness is an emotion. Happiness is fleeting. It is what it is, right? Like, and it's really easy, particularly when you're projecting massively, it's really easy to look at somebody and see them as happier than they are, or more sad than they are, or more angry than they are. As you guys have seen, especially those of you guys who have been on my channel for years, I have stayed pretty consistently consistently me. I'm just going to put it to you that way. So you've seen highs, you've seen lows, you've seen angry Alex, you've seen sad Alex, you've seen happy-ish Alex. I'm just kidding. You've seen a lot of things. So what is it that you can actually see that's different? 1, I'm present. 2, I am healthier. So you notice the things I complain about, they've changed. Gosh, remember there was a time on this channel where I wasn't constantly complaining about social issues in regard to my weight loss, like projection. I was talking about things like my health all the time. I was having to take breaks because of my health constantly, particularly at certain times of the year, aka the solstices. It was very tough. So towards June and towards December, very tough. And I could not sustain YouTube because I was so ill during those times, particularly in 2023. It was rough. So, has my personality changed drastically? In some ways, yes. Some of it is just like I've gotten healthier. My brain works better. I can express different ideas easier. Some of that is also experience and all these different things. But at the end of the day, am I still myself? Kind of. Do I still have a particular emotional pitch? Yeah. Am I super happy? No. I think it's changed. I think I went from being in a terrible state emotionally in 2023 to being tortured in 2024 to being just kind of frustrated now. Is frustration happy? I guess not. So would she be able to say, oh, well, you're mid and you're not happy? Sure, but was I happier, fatter? No. No, I was actually a lot worse, to be honest. So I just think that that's a stupid way to look at it to start with. You need to look at the actual facts of what's going on. Like I said, I'm healthier. I do 2 jobs now, full time. I couldn't do that in 2023. No, I had to do this pretty much part-time. I could barely sustain even a part-time effort on YouTube. And in the years prior to that, I could barely function at one job, if you want to get so real. So I was very, very unwell physically. And yeah, I mean, my recovery from that has been documented online. So it's like, no, I'm in a much different place than I was. But am I happier? I don't know. It's a weird question. It's weird.
Spent some of their life fat, maybe a lot of their life fat, and are not fat anymore. In my experience, those people never get to a point in which they're happy with their body. They never get to a point in which they've reached the right weight.
Okay, and how many people who are hugely fat get to a point where they're happy with their body? Truly. I mean, what are we comparing it to? I'm not seeing this. Are you super happy with your body? I don't think so. I don't feel it. I'm not feeling the happiness with your body from you. I'm not. Because if you were, I don't think you'd be talking about other people in this way. It's a strange thing to even observe, care about any of it, especially if you're not really thinking about your body image all the time or you're not really worried about it. Why would you be thinking about how somebody else feels about how they lost the weight or whatever, especially if you haven't lost it? It's just odd, isn't it?
And they feel attractive. They feel like they've made it. And
okay, well, I definitely, for the first time post-gym last night, first time in my life, I took my clothes off to get in the shower. I looked in the mirror and I was pleasantly surprised. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I've been putting effort towards building muscle, particularly in my thighs and ass. And I could see the difference in the mirror. And I was really, really happy. Because I'm finally at a stage where I'm so mid that I can see like new muscle growth and stuff like that. It's not all completely hidden like it usually was, like it has been the entire rest of the time. And I did feel more attractive. You know, I looked at my ass and I was like, my ass is more attractive than it was a month ago. Is it like, you know, banging body, totally not mid at all? No. No, it's not, but it's an improvement. So it's still disproving you because I do feel more attractive today than I did 2 days ago because I noticed it. So it does stand to reason that if I continue to move forward, then I will feel even more attractive and more attractive and more attractive until I get to where I'm headed. So, you know, it depends on the person, I guess, but it's also like there are a lot of people who, again, have mid-sized princess energy where they are obsessed with these mindsets and these ways of being, and even after losing the weight, they don't want to let it go. That's something that I advocate against heavily on the channel, and I've been addressing it in the mid-size era because it's not good for you. I think it's dumb, and it also gives people like this some kind of credit, even though there really isn't any, but still, like, when so many people who have lost the weight, they have this mid-sized princess energy, as I call it. I just call it that because I feel like it originates in the mid phase, whether it's while you're gaining up or while you're coming down. But people post content like that all the time because it goes viral, and that's what people want to hear. People want to hear that you're unhappy with the fact that you lost weight. I don't know why. I guess people are just really negative, but I told you guys I would never do that on this channel. I never would. I'm just very real. There are times where I'm very frustrated, where I feel like I should be further than where I am. And then there are times where I feel like I'm more attractive, like I felt last night. And I was like, okay, I want to keep going, you know? So it's like you have to kind of, I just am real, basically. I just put it all out there. But that is the positive side too. I'm going to put the positives out there too. So sorry to shatter your image, I guess. But no, I do feel more attractive than before. I do.
They can be loved now and they can have the kind of life that they want. It just doesn't happen. And
okay, well, in terms of like having the kind of life that I want and feeling loved and all that stuff, honey, I have so many other issues. So many other issues that have nothing to do with weight. That it's not even relevant. I think that's the goal. The goal is that your weight isn't relevant to those problems. The goal is that there's just other issues that you start to face and you look at and you fight and you do this type of stuff and you have to catch up. There's a lot of times when you're coming from a huge place where you feel like you're catching up. And I'm just at a point in my journey where I feel like I'm fighting to catch up and I'm getting frustrated because I feel like it's not happening fast enough, which I think is a really common feeling with anybody. Again, this isn't even really weight related anymore. There are so many things now being mid that have nothing to do with weight. Like I told you guys, my horrible flight experience, it had nothing to do with my weight. And it is a weird feeling. It's hard to talk about on social media, which is probably why you haven't heard it, because how are people going to get on here unless if they're like me and just cover everything in extreme detail? How are people going to get on social media and be like, I took a flight and the problems I had with the flight had nothing to do with my weight? How is that going to go viral? How are you going to see it? Do you not see that you're not looking for that type of person? You're not looking for that content. You're not looking for that in other people. Because I see it really obviously. I really do. I think you're looking for it. If you seek, you will find.
And the thing that does happen is that they realize that it's unattainable. So when you're fat, you can kind of like have this myth of what it would be like to be thin and have all these like thoughts that if you got thin, then you would.
Yeah, these are disordered thoughts. This is toxically ritualistic. It's an over glorification of thinness as well as a over demonization of thinness, particularly within B followed by E followed by D. There is a very bizarre, ambivalent relationship to thinness within it, as the disorder has so much rumination, is very, very anxiety driven. Like all E followed by the letter D. They're all anxiety driven. And this is an aspect of the BINGE side where you think about being thin so often, even though you're not typically. And so there are times where you overglorify it, or times when you demonize it. And you go back and forth. Like, you're currently demonizing it, but I'm sure there have been times in your life where you've overglorified it too. And for me, I don't do either one. I'm just being real about where I'm at. I just talk about it for what it is. I look at the good, the bad, the ugly. And I think that that's been my goal because, again, I don't have the type of temperament or personality to tell people what they want to hear. That's just not me. I do not care. I'm here to document it. I'm here to do this type of stuff, whether it pisses people off, whether people love it, whether people hate it, whether people are helped by it or whatever. You know, I would hope that it helped, gosh. But even if it doesn't, I'm going to tell the truth, you know, and that's basically what it is. So yeah, sometimes people get irritated because I've been negative about certain aspects. But also people have been irritated when I've been positive about certain aspects. So people just get irritated anyways. But that's what it is, you know. And currently I'm in the mid-sized phase and it's very ambivalent and weird. Like it's uncomfortable, but I'm getting more used to it. And I'm going to keep talking about it and stuff. I'm trying to create resources or something to help other people get through this, you know, because there are a lot of things that come up, particularly anger, I think is really common in this phase. And a lot of you guys said that you were too, which helps me, by the way, because I feel less alone too. It also helps me.
Would have this, and that. You would have a relationship, and you would have a job, and you would have love, and you'd have good sex.
There are a lot of people who have all those things who are fat, thin, mid, everywhere in between. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. This is such weirdness. So weird. So bizarre. I don't even know. I don't know. In a job? Like, really? I'm just saying. I've seen a lot of people of a lot of different sizes have a job. I mean, I don't even know what you're saying here.
And you'd have a body you could show off, but
I mean, maybe not, or maybe yes. I don't know. You know, I don't personally care to show off my body. I don't. I'm introverted. I don't want to. You know, I'm not trying to like live in the shadows or anything. I'm not trying to put a tarp over me and try to hide, but I'm also not trying to put it all out there. Not everybody is like that. And I don't hate anybody or shade anybody or whatever. I don't feel any kind of way towards people who want to show off their body, but that's just not something I'm ever going to be interested in. I'm introverted. It's like, don't put your extroversion onto me. How dare you? That's insulting. I'm just kidding. It's not insulting. It's offensive. Okay? I don't want to do that. I don't. Just for, you know, that special person, basically. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those. I'm just not like that. And I don't have to be. And I'm not going to be that way at any size. I don't see that. You know, for me, it'd be like, oh my gosh, if I wore a tank top or something, you know. We're not the same. Okay? We're not the same. We're not. But it has nothing to do with losing weight or not. That's a personality trait. And, you know, I'm supportive. If you want to be scantily clad, I support you. If you want to cover up, I support you. I am somebody, I don't want to do all that. I just don't.
In my experience, people that lose a lot of weight don't get those things. They still dislike their body. They still want to be in a different body. And that is because...
It depends. It depends on, again, if that person's bringing that mid-sized princess energy. But I'm not doing that. I told you. And you don't have to. It's optional. That is optional. You do not have to be that way post weight loss. You can get over it. There's a lot of people who also don't care at all. You know, there are so many people who lose weight for health reasons. And you do not, you're not let down in that regard at all.
Because they are not the problem. Their body is not the problem. It is obviously beauty standards and fat phobia that's the problem. So,
oh my gosh. Okay, so this is another one of those things where they're really, really obsessed with it's everybody else's fault all the time, right? And this is something that I cannot stand in terms of obesity. It's so irritating beyond all levels. It is so irritating because honestly, if you want to be so real, with some rare exceptions of weirdos, most people would love for the issue to be resolved. Most people would love to help. Most people would love to support something to help this issue. Most people in your life would support you if you wanted to lose weight. Most, not all, which again, people are always like, but that one person, okay, yes, that one person may be trying to sabotage, but guess what? There's all these other people who are going to support you. It's like the system or the people or whatever, people just don't know what to do. They don't know how to help. They don't know what to say. That's very common. This issue has been clouded by a lot of people that have toxic ritualistic behaviors, going into certain industries, talking online, trying to teach people about these things. They don't know, like they're either purposely clouding it or even subconsciously clouding it and making it weird. You know, I can sit here and say, don't bring that mid-sized princess energy to your weight loss. Don't sit there and still trip about your body and all this stuff. I understand where it comes from. It comes from resistance-based weight loss, which I think is important at very big sizes. It is, because you can't, if you are super morbidly obese and you sit there and you tell yourself that you're fine how you are, it's demotivating. You have to be in reality. It's also delusional, to be honest. You're not fine how you are as a super morbidly obese person. When you get towards the mids, then it's different. Then you do have to be more positive because it can be weird and you're holding on to this resistance-based weight loss that is no longer serving. And it can also be resistance-based maintenance too, which I don't think it serves you. You don't want to be in a constant state of resistance. But I understand for a lot of people, it's difficult to shift. It's been hard for me to shift, but I'm working at it every day. I work at it all the time. That's how you get through these things. You shift, you change. And I'm dealing with it when I'm mid-size, so that when I'm thin, I'm not going to be dealing with this at all. You know, just go deal with it as you go through, because I understand why people have that resistance feeling, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with resistance inherently. It's just it's not always going to have its place. It doesn't last forever. It's not necessary forever. It just isn't. And in some cases, it can be unsustainable. And it gives the impression that you're totally miserable post-weight loss when you're probably not. The very least, like I said, for me, I'm at least the same. I'm not any worse. Certainly not. At least on an emotional level, I'm not any worse. I'm at least the same. If anything, there's a slight lift, you know? But it's just, I don't know. You're paying attention to those specific people that have that energy. You are. And I do think it's common, but there's a lot of people who don't have it, you know? There's a lot of people who aren't like that at all.
It's not a problem they can fix, even by changing their body, even by fixing their body. They're still in a world that has European beauty standards, has a certain kind of thin person.
There's a lot of different countries that have beauty standards, different regions of the world that have beauty standards. Beauty standards are not just a European thing. Beauty standards are just beauty standards. You live up to them, you don't, etc. It is what it is. In terms of the obesity issue, we have to look at health, which is more objective and a lot less subjective. And it doesn't matter if you're celebrated for being super morbidly obese, you're still going to face extreme health consequences no matter how celebrated you are. It is not a good state to be in. It's horrible. You're not going to be able to save that. You're not going to be able to make that all go away because of social club bullshit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's why the first thing I said was, is happiness even really relevant to this? Not really. It's about your health. Certainly from such a big size, it's about your health.
Person that is seen as beautiful, and they never reach where they're trying to go because they can't get to where they're trying to go. Some of the most unhappy.
Okay, well. Anyways, that's what I have to say. Let me know what you think. I feel like I did a decent read on this person. Speaking of diet culture. Zero sugar cranberry juice. That's pretty diet culture-y. We love that in the mids. I've also been eating tuna, which I never used to eat, but I've needed that low calorie, low price protein for them gains, bro/sis. But anyways, you guys, I will talk to you guys later tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this. We'll be back soon. Peace.